storm of maybe a decade or more. In fact, here it'll likely be the biggest snowstorm they've had in 15 years. You got to remember that it doesn't snow a lot here. Their average snowfall is 8.7 inches here in northeast Oklahoma. We're not far from the Kansas line or from Missouri. We're right tucked up here on I-44. So they average about 9 inches, 8.7, and we're forecasting 8 to 12 inches. The winter storm warning now, it was upgraded from a watch this morning by the National Weather Service here in Tulsa, and that goes through Sunday afternoon. So even though the snow will end early Sunday morning, there's going to be impacts, primarily because there's going to be little, if any, melting going on. How about these temperatures? Well, today you can see around me, it is just a gorgeous day here in most of Oklahoma because the skies are mostly sunny, some high clouds. That will be changing tonight and tomorrow. Clouds will lower and thicken and roll in, and temperatures will start to fall tonight. In fact, highs tomorrow only in the mid-20s. Keep in mind the average high now is around 50. And then Saturday, during the storm, the height of the storm, the temperatures will be around 7 to 8 degrees. So that's more than 40 degrees below average. And speaking of records, we could set a new record low max. That would be the coldest high temperature for January 24th on Saturday. Right now the number is 15. And then by Monday morning, we're going down below zero for the first time in 5 years. Current forecast is 4 below zero, and that's because we're going to have all the snow on the ground and light winds and clear skies. And that's how you get the coldest nights usually on record. 4 below zero would take care of the record. The record right now stands on Monday, the 26th, at 7 degrees. So that would be 11 degrees colder than the record. So that's what we're looking at. No doubt they'll be brining these roadways tomorrow here in Oklahoma. Now, the issue with this storm is where does the snow begin to mix with sleet and freezing rain? And that's going to oscillate because we still have another more than 24 hours here, and certainly points east. For instance, Nashville, Little Rock, areas in the Carolinas up to Virginia. It may start as snow, then it'll go over to ice, and then areas south of there, for instance, Memphis, northern Mississippi, Shreveport, Louisiana, Dallas, Texas, some of those areas extending into the western Carolinas and Virginia. Those areas will have primarily ice, and we're talking about significant icing. This is a very cold air mass, so it's going to come down, ooze down like molasses, and undercut the warm tropical air. As a result, we get freezing rain. Typically with a big storm, we either have snow or rain or a mix. That's not the case now. So a large swath of freezing rain and thousands, and I dare say, and I mean this, hundreds of thousands of power outages are expected with this storm from Texas across those same areas, Louisiana, parts of Tennessee, and all the way into parts of Virginia. Now, north of there, it's going to be all snowfall. If you're watching us from areas in Kentucky, Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, Ohio, through West Virginia. D.C., getting a little dicey there. Do they switch over to sleet and freezing rain after it starts to snow? And that cuts down on the accumulations. We're going to have to wait. Now, again, it doesn't get into D.C. till Saturday night. New York City right now not under a watch, but I assume the National Weather Service out there on Long Island and Upton will put out a watch very shortly. But we've got watches or warnings now in 35 states, and a lot of those watches will go to warnings as we get closer, usually within 24 hours of the precipitation starting. But keep in mind, these watches here were put out 3 days in advance. That's how confident the Weather Service was of this storm and its impacts. And I don't believe we've seen anything like this as far as the geographic footprint of the snow and ice in since at least 2011, so that's 15 years ago. By the way, you can always zap in and give us a question. Let me see if we got any questions yet. Not yet. No questions yet, but feel free to pass along a question. So if you're traveling this weekend, the main interstates that will be impacted, I-40, snow, sleet, freezing rain, and then I-70. Certainly. Kansas City, St. Louis will get a good snowfall. Most of these areas, generally 8 to 12, but there will be areas that will get more than a foot of snow. And during the big snowstorm of 96, the blizzard of 96, if you remember that one, gosh, it's been 30 years ago this month, there were 13 states that had had snowfall totals of a foot or more. Don't know if we'll do that this time, but we'll be very close. But we've got the watches and warnings from Texas, New Mexico, extending all the way up to Vermont, New Hampshire, and eventually into areas including Boston and Providence. Let me see here. No questions yet. We'll keep updating you throughout the afternoon. By the way, I'm in Tulsa for the storm. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon starting at 1 o'clock Eastern, noon here in the Midwest and Plains. And then we'll be back Saturday for prime time as far as the weather goes. Saturday, we start, right now we're expected to start in the morning around 8 Eastern, and we'll be here through the morning into the afternoon, mid-afternoon, if not later. And that's when we'll have the worst weather here as far as wind chills going below zero, maybe as cold as 15 below zero. As I mentioned, temperatures on Saturday will stay in the single numbers, 40 degrees below average, and you're going to have the snow and the blowing snow. Now remember, when it snows at these temperatures, it's like pixie dust. It's like powder. It just blows around. So we're not going to have a lot of wind. We're not going to have 40 or 50 mile an hour wind gusts, but we will have gusts 20 to 25 miles an hour, and that will blow and drift the snow around on Saturday and Saturday night. Sunday, the sun will come back out. It will be cold. It's not going above freezing. Low 20s, that's about it. And that's, again, the average high 50, just reinforcing the fact how cold this Arctic air mass is. And as warm as it's been in December and so far in January in Tulsa, running 4 to 5 degrees above average from December 1st through now, we're going to take the edge off that warm weather because the rest of the month of January will be running below average. We've got this cold shot coming in, and we have 2 more Arctic shots coming in before the end of the month. So whatever falls will stick around, especially if the areas that don't get any sun, as I like to say, on the shady side of the street. You've probably seen that before. Their snow melts later than maybe on your side of the street where the sun hits it directly. But these roads are going to be a mess. They do have some equipment, and they have salt. It's not like it doesn't snow here. It's not like we're down in Houston. By the way, Houston has a winter storm watch. Temperatures there going down to potentially a record low of 22 on Monday morning. So if you're in the Houston area, look out for some freezing rain late Saturday night into Sunday and Sunday evening. Also the same situation farther north, Austin, San Antonio. There are many areas right now that are under these watches and warnings. And again, those warnings will be hoisted. All those watches east of here and northeast of here, they'll be upgraded to warnings through the afternoon, the evening, and tomorrow. So again, Fox Weather has you covered. We've got numerous crews. I think last check, 10 of my coworkers will be out covering the storm from Dallas, from here, from Arkansas into Kentucky. We'll have a crew also around D.C., Philly, New York, and eventually likely to have a crew in Boston, but multiple crews, and we're extending coverage until midnight each night during the height of the storm. So stay with Fox Weather and Fox Streaming, and we will keep you updated and give you the best pictures. I can tell you our pictures here on Saturday will be very, very strong, as they say in television. A great visual with snow and blowing snow, but remember, it will be bitterly cold. 8 degrees, wind chills about 15 to 20 below zero. We'll show it to you all right here on Fox Weather. We'll also be making appearances too on the Fox News channel. For now, I'm Storm Specialist Mike Seidel in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thanks for watching, and stay with Fox Weather through the storm.